Hey, good morning. Welcome to another HR and Payroll Power Hour with Steve Mann with Southland Data Processing. And yes, if you saw his banner, he does have that kind of glowing and infectious smile. Welcome, Steve. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jeff. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Hey, how's the tech in your world today?
Well, it a little challenging, but I'm here. But I'm here. Everyone can hear me. You know, you can hear me. So we're good.
That's great. Hey, I know we've got a lot of topics to talk about, but I want you to take just a couple of minutes and tell us about, Southland Data Processing, what its overall goals are, what your role is before we dive into today's topic.
Ah, well, that's a good question. Maybe I can lead with our mission statement, which is to serve our clients and our partners with unrivaled performance and to make a positive impact. Help our clients make a positive impact. So really, what Southland Data Processing, or SDP, I'll call it SDP Payroll moving forward. Uh, what we're about is we are an alternative to some of the larger payroll houses that are out there. Won't name names, but we really cater to smaller businesses, with under 100 employees that look for a little bit more of a personalized, hands-on, white glove type treatment, which they tend not to get with some of the larger houses. That, in all fairness to them, that's why they're large. Is they're very focused on Fortune 1000 companies, and sometimes some of the smaller businesses just get lost in the shuffle. So we feel like we do a much better job, and certainly a number of our clients that have come over from their those larger places have noticed the difference, and they definitely comment. Just said, "Boy, I wish I'd heard of you guys sooner." And this is great. Being able to get a hold of live client services, live support very quickly. That's really that's really what we're about. So, and we try to give the best of both worlds. So we've been around for 38 years. We're definitely not a fly-by-night operation. We do tax filings in all 50 states, over 2,000 clients. So we like to think we bring the best of both worlds, stability and experience, yet catering to the needs of smaller businesses.
Steve, I'm just wondering, as a small business owner myself, why is having someone else other than in-house do your payroll? What's the advantages of that?
Well, boy, that's another good question, Jeff. I think you've done this interviewing thing before. I think so. I think that versus doing it yourself, and there are a number of people that do it themselves. So really, there's going to be cost savings. Now, some people might think, well, wait a minute, well, what are you talking about? We're doing it in-house now, and we're outsourcing. Isn't that going to be a greater cost? I think there's other things that businesses who make that shift will realize that whoever's doing payroll, in a number of instances, that person wears many hats. Payroll is not the only thing they are doing. So taking this off of that person's plate frees them up to maybe do more strategic, more important things, on behalf of the company. Also, let's face it, there are responsibilities associated with doing payroll, tax responsibilities, and things like that. So a benefit of a little bit of you do get something for that outsourcing, and it is you are offloading that responsibility, at the same time to a company like SDP. And I think that again. Maybe outsourcing, the same reason why any business or any person would outsource is, you're putting yourself in the hands of experts, people who have a lot of experience that probably the average person or business would not have. So we can free them up to do the things that they're really good at, instead of making them have to become a payroll expert and become versed in all the compliance laws and things like that, which are ever changing. Hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. And the next question I want to ask you, because you kind of opened the door a little bit. I heard a little creaking when you explained it. You said that sometimes a lot of these people that are local, smaller businesses that have been in these larger payroll houses, you called them, kind of feel like they've just been lost. They become a number versus, hey, you know what? It's almost like, I don't know about you, but for me, I like to have that experience like I walked into that Cheers bar and they know my name. But it sounds like with these bigger houses, sometimes they come in and like, oh, you're just a number. I've forgotten your name is Jeff. Is that really the type of people that Southland Data Processing tends to cater to and attract?
Yes. So maybe I would just slightly switch what you said, and those are the people that tend to appreciate us the most.
Ah, gotcha.
So yes, we do cater to them. They appreciate us. They notice they notice that difference. I would say that I really am always thrilled at what I hear. Let's face it, for someone like me, wanting, my goal is 100% customer satisfaction. I
Mm,
feel like that if we have one unsatisfied customer, that's a cause for angst. So when I visit clients, maybe some clients that I didn't sign up myself, I'm just doing an account review or such, and maybe I'm inwardly holding a little bit, holding my breath a bit. How has SDP been working for you? How have
mm,
things been going? And it never fails to amaze and thrill me that we get accolades. Oh, you guys are great. I wish all my vendors were like you. And then to your point about the everyone knowing your name, they know our service, our support people's names. Like,
mm.
everybody that I work with, I love Erica, or Danelle and Natalie. They were so great, on the implementation. So I won't guarantee, but I would say I'd have a high confidence level that businesses that are calling into those larger payroll companies don't know the people that are helping them on a first name basis
Mm.
like that, because very often it's a different person that they're talking to every time they call in. They could be in a different country, a different
Mm.
state, things like that. So
Steve, it sounds like really a relationship. It's not just a transaction. It's a relationship that, their name, they know your name. And when they call in, there is that, oh, it's someone I know. It's like, you don't have to start over every time. Is that fair to say?
that is fair to say. So I think, and I think that you or anyone who's listening can, if you think of your own customer service experiences, how big a difference that makes. If you're having to call in and explain your situation over and over every time that you call in, versus someone that would understand you, know things, and we have a very good system that on the off chance that you do call in and get somebody different, that the other person has done such a good job of documenting, what's happened to date, in the history, that they can pick things right up.
Well, Steve, let's kind of change channels here for a bit, because you talked about the fact that, hey, these people that really don't want to get lost in the shuffle. What makes Southland Data Processing? You talk about that relationship. They know your name. They have the people answer their phones. But let's talk about what are the differences you talk about when you say, hey, if I had to go to, one of these larger payroll firms or Southland Data Processing, what's going to make the difference? Because we don't make decisions based on similarities. We say, hey, there's a difference there. What does Southland Data Processing offer that you see as an employee there and somebody who's talking out there on the front line to people?
So I have talked a lot about our exceptional service and white glove treatment. I do think that is something that makes a big difference. But also, something that I touched upon briefly last week is the fact that uh, we we make sure that every prospective client that we sit down with receives a solution tailored to their specific requirements. So it's customized. It's not a cookie cutter type thing. And people might think, who don't know a lot about payroll, might think, well, what's the difference? But there are a number of different facets to payroll. So in addition to customized service. So it could be things like payroll processing, tax filing, and HR compliance, but also the flexible payroll processing. I think goes without saying. We give clients the ability to process payroll whatever frequency they prefer. It could be weekly, it could be every other week, could be twice a month. In some cases, even monthly and quarterly. Also, how people get paid. Some people might think that hey, it's either going to be a live check or direct deposit. But something that is really popular with a lot of businesses is having a prepaid card. That's something that for folks that don't have a checking account for whatever reason, that the card is loaded on their deposited wages can be loaded on the card, and it can be used like a credit card anywhere. So it has that liquidity. You avoid having to take your check down to some check cashing place where maybe there's a lot of fees taken out, that sort of thing. That is actually an incredibly popular payment option.
I didn't realize that option was even available. That sounds like, that's cutting edge. The fact that, hey, every week my card or whatever the payroll period is, it's just charged again, if you will, and I can go do my thing, right?
Right.
Now, is that like a Visa, MasterCard kind of thing? So if I want to pay my bills or whatever, it's accepted everywhere?
It is something like that. And you touch upon, I think, maybe the root of its popularity. Because I don't know how much time we want to spend on this topic, but maybe an additional thing I'll say is a lot of people like this. You might think that this maybe only applies to maybe a certain type of individual that maybe is living paycheck to paycheck and doesn't have a checking account. But the fact is there's a lot of people earning a six-figure income that like this. And the main reason that I've heard is they want to set something like this up for their children. Maybe they have a they have a child that's in college and they're giving them money anyways. They can set up a card for them so that money is automatically going to a prepaid card for that child to pay for their college expenses. That's, I think, can speak to the flexibility and convenience that
I love that
prepaid card offers.
You mentioned something about, compliance. I suspect there are things in your world that are changing all the time. And as a business owner, it takes one less hat I have to wear off my head. Does SDP help handle that kind of stuff?
We do. So I think maybe the most obvious might be, let's say, the healthcare industry. A lot of things to be compliant. And so our HR team, and forgive me if I repeat this a lot, but I feel like we might be the only payroll provider that has a licensed labor attorney heading up our HR team. So I think that is just gives us an additional perspective that's in order to advise our clients. So we do our utmost to stay up to date on all industry specific compliance standards. So in addition to healthcare, there could be restaurants, because with certain employees, and especially in California, construction. So yes, without getting into the weeds too much, we definitely take into account industry specific standards of compliance, and we will make sure that our clients are protected.
One other thing I want to talk about is what about when it comes to reporting? I mean, everybody likes to, especially if you've got somebody that is your comptroller or bookkeeper. I know my bookkeeper and my CPA, they want to have that bit of information available to them. How is SDP support me in that if I'm one of your clients as a small business owner?
So wonderful question, Jeff. Because I would say that reporting might be one of our strengths. It's something we get high marks for. So, and I'm not a guy that can write or create those reports, but I will just say that it's in a certain kind of a structure that essentially anything that is payroll related. So if we have the payroll data, we can create a report for it, and this will be another customer testimonials. I've had a number of times where they were going in, they might say, I've got this special report that I need. Can can you folks do it? And then later when I circle back with them, and they just said, yeah, I was actually on the phone with your support person, and I just asked them if they could do it, and all of a sudden they said, it's in your inbox, it's created. And
Oh,
you know,
wow.
I said, wow, like I didn't even ask them to do it. I simply asked if it was possible. And so that's the kind of thing that we are known for our reporting, because as you mentioned, that is something that is desired by you know, especially with the company might be a little larger. There's probably some stakeholders, ownership, leadership team that wants to get some insight as to you know, various reporting.
Are there now? Is this something a business would just turn 100% over to SDP and they do it all? And do I have access? Like, do I have a dashboard that I can check in and check on things, or is it really just a phone call? How is that all handled?
Well, I think so. Maybe if I can answer that question, dividing up into payroll and HR. So first payroll. I think what I like to tell my clients is that you have full control. So you do have an online portal. It is a SaaS solution. And in that portal, you will have a dashboard, and we get high marks for how user friendly it is. And not only that, but how it can allow the business to integrate with other systems like accounting, maybe timekeeping systems. You know, we have there are a ton of timekeeping systems. We don't make people use ours. We actually have an ability to adapt quite seamlessly with just about any timekeeping system, human resources platforms. So yes, I think that's the short answer. But I'd say that. So with payroll, I'd say our clients feel like they're in total control. They can see everything. They have the ability to see everything from a single dashboard. When it comes to HR, that can be a case of where, again, I think because of the unique skill set of the leader of the HR department, we do have some clients that basically ask SDP to be their HR department.
Mm.
So that is at certainly at a higher end, probably maybe 100 or more employees, and so that could be something where we are taking care of everything. If you want to think of the employee life cycle from hire to retire, we can handle everything, and I would say that just the cost of that compares very favorably to the cost of hiring an accredited HR person. That starts at like $75K a year and can go up. I mean, if you go on Indeed or other job sites, easily run into six figures. And what we charge as well is significantly less than that.
So this is an opportunity to really have almost like this whole customized HR and payroll, and have. I mean, you said earlier that you have an attorney on call basically, or within the staff. If there are certain questions, you know that they're going to be able to jump in and answer a question. And that's part of the service that you offer?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So that's better than just saying, okay, I hired somebody down the street to do my payroll and that's all they do. How does someone get in touch with you, Steve?
Hey, steve.mann@sdppayroll.com, or my direct number is 909-239-2653. If by some weird technological circumstance, they can call the main number of SDP, which is 909-946-2032.
Steve, I want to have you back, and the next thing I want to talk about is really more kind of diving into the HR piece of that, because you really kind of opened up that can of worms of saying, hey, you guys can really play a dual role of, taking care of my payroll. Well, why not take care of my HR as well? Because I think that's another one of those, all I can think of, it's like a cobweb. You walk into it and it's all over you. There's a lot of moving parts. Is that fair to say?
I think that is fair to say, and I would be delighted, Jeff, to do a little deeper dive in HR, because I think the reality is that has really over the past 12 to 24 months has become more of a key differentiator for us. I know I just spent a lot of time talking about the differences in payroll, but maybe some of the cynics out there might still think, payroll is payroll. But I do think that something that has differentiated us has been with smaller businesses has been our ability to take over however much of their HR services they need, whether it be working in the background or, as I said, becoming a business's HR department.
You know, before I let you go, I just want to let people know that if you missed last week's show, Steve brought on the information about this new law that goes into effect on July 1 about having a violence. Tell me what it is. It's a violent compliance or training.
I'll do a quick recap. It's Workforce
Yeah.
Violence Prevention Program, or rather Workforce Violence Prevention Plan. After July 1st, most California businesses, employers of all sizes are going to be required to have a written plan in place, a written workforce violence prevention plan. They're required to have a violence incident log, and then to provide training for the employees on this plan. And it affects the majority of California employers. And the good news is that SDP has an a la carte solution, meaning you don't have to be an SDP client. There is no further obligation that's required in order to take advantage. And two different options. Kind of a template that is sort of a user-friendly, self-guided, a template that would work well for a lot of smaller businesses, and those that might have more customized needs can opt for live consultation and support with one of our HR professionals.
To me, that looks like that's one of those ticking time bombs with not much time left on the clicker there, that you need to get a hold of Steve at SDP, and his information is going across the screen now, steve.mann@sdppayroll.com, or calling 909-946-2032 and schedule a complimentary consultation with Steve, as he says, anytime that he can help you out. And Steve, I just want to thank you again for covering out a little bit of time today. I know you're busy, and I appreciate you talking about this today, because so many times, when people start a business, having payroll and HR really becomes a secondary thought. And it only comes when it's like, I can no longer handle it myself. And now there's this, I'm doing it out of panic instead of planning. And I'd love to make sure that people seeing this will share this with other people. Say, hey, you're thinking about opening a business, or you have a business going right now, reach out to Steve at SDP, Southland Data Processing. Steve Mann is your man, no pun intended. Please reach out to him at 909-946-2032. Steve, again, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Jeff. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, folks, have a great week. We'll see you next week on. The new show name is HR and Payroll Power Hour. Yes, I know we're only going about 23 minutes, but you get an hour's worth of content packed into less than 30 minutes. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.